Well, welcome, Mike. I'm so glad to have you here today. Thank you for being attending the Professional Development Institute this January. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience? First of all, give us your name, your location, and how long you've had your practice.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Cindy. And yeah, it was a great pleasure to be at the PDI. I absolutely loved it. I'm Mike Davila. I'm one of the two partners of College Inroads. Practices out of Austin, Texas. We've been in business for about 14 years now, which is kind of crazy to think it's been that long. Overall, I've been in the industry for about 20 or 22, something like that. So yeah.
So you're not a new person to the industry. So why was it important to you to attend the PDI?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, HECA's programming is always super high quality, number one. But number two and number three, this is an incredibly dynamic time in our industry. I mean, so many things are changing. It's really important to have multiple perspectives on things that are happening and going on. And so for me, when I saw it was advertised, I'm like, oh, I definitely needed to attend this. Thirdly, I live in Mexico, so it's really hard for me to get back to the United States to do in-person programming. So it just fit all the way around. So it was fantastic.
Good. And what did you get out of it once you attended? How did you
Oh,
feel?
a ton, a ton. I learn every day, something new about this business. In my business, I call it a practice for a reason because it's never perfect. It's always a growth potential. There's always room for growth. So for me, a couple of things that I got. Number one, I got a chance to network with colleagues and people all across the United States and across the world, people with various levels of understanding and experience within the industry. I got to interact with some thought leaders also from within higher education, directors of admission for really selective schools, people I've actually talked to in the past. There was a university right down the road, so it was really, really neat to have that experience again and to hear from their perspective what's happening and the pressures that they face through the process as well. And it was in some ways a really great reminder to me of how this industry is being transformed by technology and
Mhm.
seeing some of that right up close and personal from the horse's mouth, so to speak, was really, really helpful there. I also definitely gained the perspective that there's any number of ways to crack the code to serve clients. And it was really fun for me to hear how different people are running their practices. And that gave me some really great ideas as well to help me in mine. Lastly, I would say one of the a really helpful kick in the pants for me was hearing from the attorney who was like, yeah, you should review your contract. And she had some really interesting, terms of art that I didn't know, and also some things that I needed to go back and look at from my contract to make sure that we were, protected in this environment. Lastly, I think the environment itself was really, it was just super well organized. It was really supportive. It was very respectful, and to me that was very important. And that's completely in keeping with HECA and it's the way of operating since you began it many moons ago.
Well, I'm glad that all came through because that is one of the main objectives that we have. So would you recommend the PDI either virtual or in person to other people and why?
Most definitely. I'm going to come back next year for sure. Yeah, for me, I would absolutely recommend it to anybody, whether you're 1 year, 2 years, 10, 15, whatever, however many years you've been in practice. It's a super valuable experience just for all the reasons that I've mentioned above. But for me, I'm also on the lookout for people who might want to join my practice. And yeah, there are times when I need to bring people in, and this is a great place for me to meet folks that are also really passionate and interested in learning and growing their own practice as well.
Great, great. Mike, thank you so much. I'm so glad.
Ah,
And we'll be glad to welcome you back next year. That sounds great.
awesome. Sounds wonderful. Thanks, Cindy.